You are not a bad person, first and foremost. Your impact on the negative overall status of the human race has been minimal, if not insignificant, at best. Not to say your life is insignificant, it isn't, but going on a branch here and assuming you're not a rapist, cold-blooded murderer, or other offender of morality to such a degree, you probably haven't even caused a negative impact to an individual. One might go so far to say you're a force for good in the world. It's a low-effort take to state that most people in today's world are good. I'm sure you, the viewer, could have come to this conclusion on your own, especially when comparing the grander moral compass of humanity to this point, and what we deem, and have deemed, as bad behavior. You're probably here to gain a deeper understanding, and hopefully a sense of catharsis towards your status in the world and as a person, so I suppose a little bit of elaboration could be in order. You are not a bad person, but that does not mean you are without faults. Let me tell you a story that happened to me recently. In my latest video, Do You Know the Unknown?, I stated a bit of incorrect information, and what's a better way to admit my faults than in the next video, making that this video, to be precise. Black holes, a topic we delved into in that video, flat out do not destroy matter. They send the matter out as gravitational particles. This is in contrast to my statement that black holes destroy matter. For this, I'm sorry for the misinformation and would like to thank Justin Jackson for drawing attention to this. My bad, folks. That's an easy fix, for me at least. However, life is complicated, and not always as simple as stepping up to tell the truth. You may, or someone you know may, have an issue with taking accountability for their own mistakes. It could be from conditioning or environmental factors that they feel the need to deny their own mistakes. For this, I have tolerance and understand the fear of ramifications, to a point. It was at a certain point, though, I realized people admire those willing to take accountability. It's stepping up to the plate and saying, yes, I did this, that those around you will have respect for. Most importantly, you will have respect for yourself. We deem our own stance as a moral figure in the world by the way we perceive our actions, and if we feel like our actions are villainous or bad, then we in turn feel like bad people. Making choices that do not align with our values tend to cause this. Primary side effects of making choices that don't align with your moral compass or have consequences that you are not prepared for are guilt and shame. Shame and guilt are human emotions strictly, I stand by this. I don't think your dog feels that bad when you get onto them for pooping on the carpet. They feel scared of how you'll react, sure, but a dog is just doing what dogs do, and there's no shame in that. At least, not to the level human shame reaches. Guilt is a good emotion that keeps us in check, similar to anxiety. You can go check out my video on that subject after this if you'd like. But guilt, more importantly, is more avoidable than anxiety. I have guilt in my life, but they're more apt as being described as shoulds. I should go and try to see my family more. I should be using my degree to make substantial media, voila. And I should have gone to work instead of calling in. I did that today, and now I'm recording, but my tummy hurts, so that's probably why I sound a little off. To give some credibility to my statement of taking accountability for your shoulds, a lot of the time if you do step up, you'll experience little to no guilt. Your humble creator here got pulled over by the policia a few months ago. My inspection tags were 4 months expired. The cop informed me of this tidbit of info and proceeded to ask if there was any particular reason I had not gone to my local quick lube service to have this well-placed regulation fulfilled. There were 2 reasons. 1, my car, a 12-year-old Camaro, was falling apart and I wasn't sure it would pass. Additionally, I'm a lazy shit. I told the cop I was a lazy shit who got busy with other stuff and didn't have time. Not 5 minutes later, I was driving home with a verbal warning, and that week I got inspected. It pays off to be honest, and sadly even to cops. I kid. I'm just kidding. Just tell them the truth unless you're doing like something super duper illegal. I don't endorse crime, forget that statement, but I'm gonna leave it in the edit because, it's funny, and I'm feeling a little weird today being sick. Notice how the first 2 subjects I brought up were, you are not a bad person, but also take responsibility for your actions. I'm not one to tell you how to live by any means whatsoever, but if you are looking for advice on this video, then take that information away and use it. Try and be a good person, and you'll never be bad. Just trying actively, not like, hey, I'm trying and then doing nothing, but actively trying to be good. In the world we live in today, atrocities and war crimes happen all over, even on greater scales than in days past. Do you know why? Because a Roman centurion or a Napoleonic cannoneer would laugh if you said the words war and crime in the same sentence. Grape shot, war crime. Roman spear, war crime. Certain bayonets from the American Revolution, war crime. Now, I'm not endorsing war of any means, but it's a little more complicated than that. If we look at it on a larger scale, war is just a series of crimes, one after the other. The aggressor of any war or sender of any troops is a criminal by that definition. The perplexities of war cannot be singled down to an individual troop, as oftentimes those we actively notice become avatars for their country's actions. The American Sniper movie, based on Chris Kyle, took on a lot of flack for the US involvement in the Middle East, even though he was just a trained sniper, just like anyone else in his unit. Human beings are violent, sure, but in 2023, I would say most US troops are in the services for honor, financial incentive, or even maybe a series of decisions unrelated to the US's foreign affairs status. In a lot of countries, mandatory conscription or even form of limited conscription is still enforced. Take Korea as the most notable example. Ukraine has been caught on footage committing some less than reputable tactics against Russian invaders, but that's the thing, they're invading. People have been stripped from their homes that are now their battlegrounds, either to flee as refugees to neighboring countries or enlist in the fighting. What part of Russia's invasion isn't a crime? Wouldn't you as a Ukrainian soldier use every weapon in your means to defend the home country? Additionally, these people aren't soldiers. Remember what I said earlier? And even if they were, they're not the people who wrote what was acceptable in war, so how would they even know? I understand American soldiers following the rules of war, as we've got an advantage and a due diligence to keep things orderly as the global superpower. Nonetheless, just because you kill in the name of your country or whatever reason doesn't make you a bad person. It's the acceptance of the role and the purpose served that gives your actions a meaning beyond good and bad. The complexities of life are too vast to limit the primal nature of battle to black and white. Ethical dilemmas are also a source for shaking our moral grounds of good and bad as well. Take the railcar dilemma. In this dilemma, there is a track that splits with one person on one side and 4 or 5 on the other. In the middle, there's a switch for you to control the path in which a speeding train car will take. The only way I see this being the case in real life is if you're captured by some sick psycho with a good amount of wealth and resources. Nonetheless, I suppose we should talk about it a little bit. Honestly, to me, a good person would try to save everybody with drastically varying results based on your own skills. A bad person would try to kill as many people as possible by probably grinding the track and flipping the switch last minute. Either way, it's not important. An ethical person would probably just hit the switch to kill one person, putting the needs of the many over the few. The dilemma has a lot of problems not to do that, because on one side, with the single guy, it could be a guy on death row. Not that I endorse the death penalty. I kind of do the older I get, but I'm trying not to become jaded in that fact. But you read about these dudes and you're like, oh my god, why are you here with us? How are you allowed to walk the mortal plane with us? Relating to my earlier discussion about effort, it's the effort I think shown in the railcar dilemma that solidifies what makes a person good. Serial killers, for example, are bad people. Take it from me, I look like one, but am a walking sponge for emotions. Serial killers are diagnosed as socio and psychopaths most of the time. This gives a bad rap to socio and psychopaths who have managed their diagnosis and continue to be an integral part of the community without killing or harming others. A good, not great example would be detectives. Their ability to remove themselves from gruesome crime scenes on the emotional level, mainly because they don't have them, and look at the evidence through an analytical lens allows for quick deductions. Not all detectives are psychopaths, as they are extremely rare. This lack of ability to connect in any meaningful way on an emotional level doesn't make them bad people either, as the tremendous effort put in by them to work with their diagnosis is what's important. If you made it this far in the video and not satisfied with what I have to say, then let me put it straightforward, but also in the form of a metaphor since we haven't used one yet. Yes, I know what an oxymoron is. Life is like Dungeons and Dragons. We're all walking around thinking that we're lawful good, doing the best we can, but to everyone else we're chaotic neutral, just running around doing seemingly random and worrisome acts. It's for this reason that a definition of oneself mostly does and should come from within. Like I've been saying, no matter how tired you are, keep trying your best and you'll always feel somewhat good about yourself. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. I have merch on my website that's linked in my socials. Remember to give it your all out there. Peace out.